And we'll start with today we're going to continue to cover Michi's chapter 8, which he calls, I think it's called advanced topics. So, which he covers a lot of things, advanced ideas that are very interesting, for the most part, pretty useful, and good to know, and are to alert you to what's going on, and to be aware of these situations. So the first group is midpoint. When do you clear from the midpoint? And so here's the first example. And so we've got, we're playing it against an ace-point game. We've got our midpoint to clear, and we've got loose checker or blot on the 9-point. So what's the right play, and what's the right way to think about this? What do you think? Well, let's look at one. We can play safely. We can go 9 to 4, and then maybe either 6 to 4 or 5 to 3, and that's the safe move. We don't give up any shots. What's the problem with this move, though? And I'll tell you, it's not the right move.
It's not your last roll.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you got to roll next. I mean, it's what Philippe refers to as ripping off the Band-Aid, because the next roll could be very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, look at some of the rolls. If you roll a 6, what are you going to do? If you're in this position, you roll a 6. The 6 has got to come from here down to 7, and now you've got another roll. You're going to give up a direct shot. So that's very bad. So we don't want to do that. And so the question is, well, let's look at the alternative. I think we had it. Whoops. So what about clearing the midpoint? Okay, so that doesn't look, I mean, that's scary at first, because you're giving up 6-1, 6-2, and 6-4. You're giving up 6 rolls, or 6 shots next time. However, it is the best move, because it's your only 5 is either here to the 8-point or in. And obviously, if you bring it in, you don't want to leave the direct shot. There's 11 direct shots. And so you've got to bring it down. And so you give up 6 shots, because this is a bad position to be in. You roll any 6, you're leaving 2 shots. I'm sorry, you roll any 6, you're leaving the direct shots. Now, if you don't roll a 6, you're not too bad, but you're gonna leave 4 anyway. So it's better to leave, this in terms of pay now, pay later, it's better to pay now for this one, because the price isn't too high.
Well, if you roll 5-1 also, you're in trouble.
Yeah, good point. 5s are bad. There's no 5. The 5 has to come from here. So there's another one. So any 6s, double 6s aren't terrible. So any 6s other than double 6s, there's 10 rolls, and then 5-1 is 12 rolls. So best to be aware of that and to avoid it. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Now opponent is on the bar. And what do we think about this one?
Phew.
13, 11, 9, 8.
Yeah, yeah. It's, you know, we're clearing the midpoint. When your opponent's on the bar, that's a good time to clear it, or at least to clear part of it. Because, you know, the only return shot there is 4-1. So that's not too bad. And 9 to 8, why is 9 to 8 good?
Replicates fours.
Yeah, you're giving up double fours. And so, yeah, with 1 on the bar, giving up double fours gives them 1 shot. Now, if there are 2 on the bar, you wouldn't want to do 9 to 8 because that's the only roll that gives up the shot. So yeah, I think we talked about that, but yeah, with 2 on the bar, with 1 on the bar, you want to give up. If you have to give up something, give up the big double. But with 2 on the bar, don't give up the big double because that's all he's got. So let's look at the answer here.
Gary, I'm curious if black has a board, does that change your play drastically? Like if they have the 3, 4, 5.
That's a good question. Yeah, we're looking at no board.
No board.
So
Okay.
let's put a board together. So here, obviously, now getting hit is much worse. So there are some safe plays, you know, 11, 9, 6 to 5. But, you know, the question is, you know, what if black is still on the bar? So
Curious if 9 to 6 is the right play here.
what do you think it is? 13,
9 to 6.
9 to 6? Could be.
But I'm curious
But
how
let's see what it says. I think that it is right, 9 to 6, and this is close. The original play is close. So yeah, which gets you to another point. This point, I don't know if we remember if there are examples to cover this. Actually, I think there are. So let me go over those. Well, we don't want to move this checker because it's outside of the range of black. So black can come in with a 4 and can't hit this blot. So there's no rush to move that yet. And I think that has something to do with it. But yeah, it's a good point. When you have the board, you're even going to be more cautious, even if it's less. You know, even if it makes it a little bit harder coming in the next time. Although, you know, this is for the value of the board, this is not a big error to make. And maybe you may be better off just thinking about, you know, breaking the midpoint while he's on the bar, while you've got, you know, why the breaking is good, I guess. Let's look at, okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, now we're talking. Well, what do you think the right move here is? 5-4, we can clear the 10 or the 9. So which is the right one to clear?
The 9.
Yeah, the 9, and why?
Because I read somewhere that you should clear six away from the.
Yeah,
Anchor?
that's right. Well, you might have read it in Michi's book because he talks about that. He calls it clear the troublesome point. And the most troublesome point is usually 6 pips away. Now, and it would be, once you've cleared the 6 pips away, then the troublesome point is the 5 point away. So the farther away you get from the anchor, the more troublesome the point is. But the 10 point is not troublesome. Why is it troublesome? Well, if you have to clear that and leave a blot, you want to leave it on the 10 because then there's no direct shot. If you have to leave the blot on the 9 or the 8, then you're looking at direct shots, which are at least 11 and possibly more shots. You leave it in the 10, you're giving up the 7, which is still a lot of shots, 4, 3, 5, 2, and 6, 1, still 6 shots, but it's a whole lot less than 11. So the idea of this part is clear the troublesome point first when you have the chance.
Gary, if the race was closer, would that still hold? And I don't.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Let me bring it back up. Yeah, that's a good point. If you have something like this, where black has good racing chances, yeah, you're probably going to want to keep the blocking in here. So I would probably play 10 to 9, and actually it's a big blunder not to. Yeah, you don't want to give them the 6. You don't give them. It's not only the double 6s, but any 6 and out, you're left with the single checker here, and yeah, you have chances to point on them, but you may be forced to hit loose, and if you hit loose, then you're giving up 11 shots or more for the return hit, and the return hit is a loser for you. So yeah, that's a good point. It's not, Michi doesn't cover that, but yeah, and if you have to guard against the race, then you're going to keep all the blocking points there that you can. Okay. 4-3. And what do we think about this one? So here, we can clear the 9 or we can clear the 11. And clearing the 11 obviously is good because you're giving up the block. You're not giving up a block. And if you don't clear it then and clear the 9, then you're going to give up what's this, an 8? You're going to give up 5-3 and a 6-2. So you're giving up 4 shots. So what do you think?
I'd clear the 11.
Okay. Well, the answer is no. You clear the 9.
Oh God.
He didn't give a rule as to how many shots was worth it, but this is only 4 shots.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if giving up 6 shots matters. Here he's got 6 shots. Yeah, it's even worse to clear that. Yeah, you're giving up these shots because clearing this is not given. Because any 6, once you've cleared the 11, you get any from this point. You may have to clear the 7. If you clear the 11, then you may be forced to clear the 7, and now any 6 forces you to give up a shot. So that's usually worse than giving up the indirect shot to begin with. Now, once again, with this is when we've got a huge race lead. And if we don't have that lead, And in fact, black's best chance is the race. Even worse than that. Then I would expect this one to be coming in, yeah. Keep the blocking point. So yeah, black has good racing chances, keep the blocking point. I'm not sure what, how far this has to be. Yeah, so here black's racing chances aren't really that good, but you still keep the blocking point. You know, and then here they're even worse. Okay, so here's the blocking point. So there's probably a lead that makes a difference here. Obviously I haven't tested it out, but this is huge. This is 18. Maybe I got this wrong. Here it's clearing. Oh yeah, so this is 24 pips is a big lead. And it still pays to keep the blocking point here. So this is what it was, 46 pips. And now it's even. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure where the carryover is because here's, in fact, 46 pips is a huge lead. And here it's break even whether you break the blocking point or not. That's interesting. Michi doesn't cover that. So that's a good question. I mean, his chapter is entitled Clearing the Troublesome Point, but here it does matter on the opponent's board and on the race. Interesting. I don't know if you thought about that. This is one of the difficulties of putting these books together with examples like this, is that there's so many other factors that he doesn't cover. All right.
Wow.
So here again, this is so what's the right play here? Big racing lead, no board.
Yeah.
Clear the 8.
Yeah, clear the 8.
Mhm.
So yeah, and let's see what happens if, let's give him a board. And not such a big racing lead. It's still clearing the 8, but now it's close. And now it's clear the 11. Don't give up the blocking point. Well, here the next roll, black has got to break his board. That's a good point too. If black is going to break his board, it usually pays to keep your blockers there. Black is here. Let's see. Yeah, you're still keeping it there. Still keeping your blocking point. Maybe he'll break his board. Okay. So here we've got big racing lead. Black has a board.
Gary, I don't think you mean a checker born off in black's trade.
Yeah, you're right. I'm missing one here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's going to change. So I would, based on what we've seen, it's to me, it's not that clear. I mean, 40 pips leads is a big lead. But this, I mean, if you get hit, you lose. So, so what do we think?
But if you go 2-3 and he escapes, you've got a lot of ammunition to hit that block. He's not going to hit you on the next roll, more than likely.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, he can't. We're
It
14.
would be doubles. No, yeah, he can't.
Yeah.
And you can hit one of the checkers that's left behind.
Yeah.
That's right. Which is, you had a 5-point board. You're giving up 11 shots, which probably lose you the game if you do hit. But you may be able to point on them.
Yeah.
So, but the answer to this is to clear the troublesome point. And I think the answer is coming in here. There's no immediate direct shot, and black's not likely to come out here. And at best, you're going to give up one direct shot. What you're likely to do, though, the next time is come in and give up some indirect shots. And you might come in directly. We are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 or higher brings you right in. And this is 8 or lower. It brings you right within one roll, and gives up 4 shots at best. Yeah, but again, now that we've talked about it, Michi doesn't go into when it's better to keep the blocker there and when it's better to clear it. He talks more about clearing it, and as we saw, it's sometimes a mistake. And I wonder if we put this a little bit closer. Hi, Karen. And right now it's still blocking.
What if you move the block, your block, from the 15 to say the 12 or 11?
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. What if we move it to where we're giving up a shot?
Yeah.
Well, here, let's do this one. This one, 5 puts us on the 8. So that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Don't give up a shot, and and black is going to crash his board. Let's see if he doesn't crash his board, how much that matters.
Yeah.
Not much. But here, this I think is going to be clear the 8. Let's put it here where we're giving up double 6s. It's clear, still clearing the 8. This is, I guess we did this one.
Yeah,
Like
because that's
that.
under the.
Yeah, so we don't. Yeah, and that's clear. Well, we don't have a good 6 from there, so that doesn't help. So Karen, we were going over Michi's concept here is what he calls it, clear the troublesome point. And so the initial example here was this. And so what Michi is saying is, okay, this 6 pips away is a troublesome point, and let's clear that when we get the chance, even when we're leaving a shot here. See if this one works. This one is right. This is not the original example.
Yeah, I always find these hard, but in general, I find XG doesn't clear the 8.
Yeah. Well, this was the original example, and it does there.
I see.
But there are times when the race is closer and black has a strong board where it doesn't make sense. Where XG is saying, okay, don't clear the point, keep it as a blocking point. And Michi doesn't really discuss it. I'm not sure, even with a big race, it seems like sometimes you're keeping that point there. We were just looking at an example where it was 24 pips.
Uh-huh.
And it's still right to keep the point here. Yeah, so here now we're getting this close. And we're still, 16 pips is a pretty big lead. And now it's almost break even to come up or break the point.
I see. So if you're way ahead in the race, go ahead and give up the 8.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
for the
here-
most part, but even,
He's got such a strong board. If he gets the fly shot, that's it.
yeah. Yeah, so this one I would say Michi could have helped us out a little bit more than what he did with these. All right. Now this one.
So the question is 13-8 versus coming off the 11.
Yeah, here. Yeah, this black has a back game going, but not a well-timed back game. And so, yeah, do we want to clear the troublesome point here, the 11 point, or play? Either one is a safe play, or bring the midpoint down to the 8 and keep this as a landing point to clear the midpoint.
Gary, I've heard this kind of problem referred to as too many points, in the sense that you lose flexibility because every point is a pair.
Yeah, because you've got stripped points.
Yeah.
Which are difficult to clear. So, which is, I think is the clue to this one. The answer is to clear the 11 point.
Yeah.
And generally that's true. That gives you generally you have a big lead. Now again, it would probably not be true. Let's look at that. If black were about to crash.
Right. So he's going to be leaving the 12 point.
It's still leaving 11. Let's see if back this matters. No, it's still right to clear that.
I think the general rule is just if you're going to race, race. And if you're going to race effectively, you want to clear your points.
Yeah.
It's when he's behind in the race that you want to keep more points out there.
Yeah, that's certainly true. We're going over a number of those where this is a blocking point. If it's close to the race, the blocking point is an asset, and you want to keep the asset. If you're way ahead in the race, then that blocking point is a troublesome point because you've got to clear it. You're going to clear it before your opponent is forced to either crash his board or come off his anchor.
Hey, Gary, is another way to look at it is that you want to clear it because not only does it block your opponent, it also blocks you just as effectively.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean by blocking. We have to clear the point.
Blocks you from coming in.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, and what that is we need to clear that point. At some point in this, in order to win the race, we've got to clear that point.
Yeah.
Which is why, is it more of an asset as a blocking point, or is it a liability because it's something that we have to clear? And so it's, those are tough decisions. Here, the race is pretty much even. So we're saying that, okay, this is now an asset. Because black is going to have to come off of it, either come off his anchors or break his board. And so either one of that is very good for us. Whereas if we had checkers here, now black has timing. And so we want to clear the point. Because black is not going to, he's not going to break his board or be forced to break his anchor. He's going to, even if he rolls a 1 and something, he's going to break this point and, dare us to hit him. Because that hit just gives him more timing. So these are these are tougher ones, and Michi emphasized clearing the points, but really didn't discuss the aspect of racing, the racing versus blocking points. But it would have been helpful if he did. Okay, so that was it for this session. I've got two more sessions. Just so there are 2 more sessions in chapter 8, and then one cover in chapter 9. Chapter 10 is really short, and I may do that with another session, along with maybe some quiz problems for bringing the whole book together, and that will complete the book. So we've got like 4 sessions left for Michi's Endgame.
So I guess everybody saw my note that all of these lessons are going to be converted to YouTube videos. So I hope that'll make them easier to access for all of you, but also more broadly accessible through the US Backgammon Federation.
Yeah, so anyone who actually wants these, you can get it through, it's on my Google Drive. I can send you the link. I think you have to request permission, but I'll get you permission to see it. I think most of you guys already have it, but anyway, if not, you're more than welcome to get it.
I did finish Michi's 3rd book, so looking forward to going through it, the back checker strategy.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's something else I want to discuss. Let's turn off the recording.